Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. This is Cross-Examinations. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller. Thank you for being here. Please do like and subscribe. Hit that share button on your way in. As we know, YouTube is no longer sharing when you hit like. So if you want people to know you're here, you do have to actually hit that button separately. Let us see what happened in yesterday's program. If anybody left any comments, which I can address. Yesterday was Is Ben a Creationist? And it looks like there were no comments. Wow, this is going to like go right into the camera and look like that thing from Star Wars. It will extract the truth from me. All right, so apparently no, there were no comments from yesterday's show. That is fine. We are going to say hello to whoever's here, but first I have to actually get to that page. I hope everyone is having a bang-up day. How do you like the angle? Is this angle weirding you out, or should I switch it back to the old standby? All right, let's pop this chat out and say hello to some people. Withheld, hello. He says he's very mad. I don't know why, and I'm sorry. Hellstorm says Meg seems to be moving along. That's good, actually. I don't want to check on it right now. YouTube is stingy with likes. Yeah, I don't understand why they decided to do that. It's so hobbling. It's like, hey, you know what? It's social media, right? You have a social media tie-in with Twitter. I mean, you're allowed to share it. Why? What happened? Why are they being? It's annoying. It's annoying. All right. What's up, Dr. Fantastic, Metalhead, Cubsadom, Hellstorm, Fantastic. Michael Pernesti. Michael Pernesti, you are like always the first one here. Do you have advanced warning when these things launch, or what? It's no worse than usual. Lots of things. Lots of things. All right. Let me do. I'm being a hypocrite because I have not yet shared it out myself. Hit that share button, hit that Twitter button. And we are live. Come on. Oops, I put come on. Come on. Tribulation now. Tribulation now. Cross-examinations. Is that clickbaity enough, you guys think, for what's going on today? Hikaru, hey Mike, hey Mike, hi. But it could just be that change scares him. All right. Yeah, it's weird because now I'm looking up because if I'm looking at the screen, I'm looking up, but if I look down at the camera, I'm looking down at you. Which is weird because usually I'm looking down this way compared to the camera. But this is a good way for you guys to see what I just got in the mail today. My leftist tears, hot or cold tumbler from thedailywire.com. Currently filled with lemonade because I am still trying to get rid of this kidney stone. Hey, Mike, what is Eden drawing for the auction? I think she's going to draw Alita. Prime Geek says it right. He says, Hail Jesus. Amen to that. Pernesti says, the Force tells me when Mike streams, and I'm always prepared. LOL. Turned off? Now I must attend. Edit. Public. Advanced settings. Chat, caption. I don't know, somehow or another, all my stuff got like weirded out. Caption certification? No. I'll have to figure this out, I guess. But thank you for that. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Very strange. Revenge. Broadcast alert. Oh. Anyways. Well, hello, Upshot Mike. Hello, hello, hello. 47 people watching. I'm a bit robot-y, am I? Dang it. All right, let me get to the story du jour from our good friends at christianheadlines.com. From our good friends at christianheadlines.com. All right. Christians deliver hope as Syrian civilians risk lives to flee last ISIS stronghold. And we will thank Donald J. Trump for crushing ISIS. Thank you very much, Mr. President. The remaining ISIS stronghold is crumbling, and Syrian families are fleeing what remains of the Islamic State of Iraq's dwindling territory. As women and children suffer on the road, the Christian group Free Burma Rangers have met them with aid and a message of hope. Not just a message, hope, that's weird. The Islamic terror group has been cornered in the village of Baghouz by U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces, CBN News reports. 12,000 people, many being ISIS families, have escaped the village and embarked on the road to the nearest refugee camp several miles away. The SDF have assisted with the evacuation, sending cattle trucks to Baghouz. I hope I'm pronouncing that. Baghouz, and transporting refugees to a collection point where families are screened and former ISIS fighters are imprisoned. The rest are sent to the Al-Hol, is that real? Refugee camp. The trek is dangerous. In recent weeks, 69 people, mostly children, have died on the way to the Al-Hol camp, according to the International Rescue Committee. The journey involves a walk of dozens of miles in the Syrian desert without food, water, or shelter. Former ISIS fighters continue to pose a threat as well. The terror group is doing what it can to prevent Syrian families from leaving the conflict, closing off a pathway from which nearly 40,000 have been able to escape since December. A spokesman for the SDF told the AP. Despite the constant reality of death, new life is springing out of the desert, and Christians are helping make that happen, CBN News writes. The Free Burma Rangers have been meeting and fleeing refugees, providing for needs in any way they can. The group was founded by former U.S. Special Forces officer David Eubank and provides medical care, aid, and the gospel to the world's most dangerous places. We are giving medical care, blankets, food, and water at a collection site where over 3,000 are waiting today, said Eubank Saturday. Yesterday, our medics helped to deliver 2 babies and assisted in 2 more deliveries. We feel Jesus has us here to share his love and need prayer to do that better. We will remain here in the desert until we are sure none are left, and then all remaining supplies to the refugee camps, and send all remaining supplies to the refugee camps. They are being moved to, Eubank promised. So that's nice. They're helping just anyone trying to get away from this ISIS madhouse. I mean, geez, thank God this isn't as bad as it was just, 2 years ago? 2 years ago. Remember just the constant news of people fleeing, the refugee problems, the images of Christians, images and videos of Christians being beheaded, burned alive in cages, Christian children being mutilated. Oh my gosh, they were killing Christians and selling the blood because they believe that the Christians' blood has magical powers, and they were hanging them up in butcher shops. Oh, these most disgusting images. I would never show them on my YouTube channel, but they were just the most disgusting images of human bodies in butcher shops. They were cutting them up and cannibalizing them. And makes me want to throw up just thinking about the pictures I saw, the videos I saw. Sorry, not pleasant. But that's why this is called Tribulation now, because Christians in the Middle East for, the past decade, wow, have they gone through hell, right? And such hell as we haven't seen on this planet since medieval times, and all targeted at believers, right? Really? That's what you're concerned with, is what is my son playing? I'm talking about the death, the mutilation, the torture of Christians in the Middle East, and you're like, hey, what's your son playing over there? David. Roblox. Starvellion asks, what? The butcher shop? I had a dream about that before it actually came out in the news. The butcher shop? Oh, I know. Did you see the video? I mean, if you guys want it, it's probably still on YouTube. You Google that, like, I don't know what you would Google, like Christians butchered or ISIS. I don't know what you're gonna find, so maybe you shouldn't look it up, because it's the video is now replaying in my head involuntarily, and it's just so horrendous. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, that Arab Spring. Yeah, that was not a good thing, guys. That was not a good thing. And it led to the absolute tribulation of and you know what? Honestly, that's why I had thought at the time, and watching the map of ISIS grow around Israel, that's why I thought at the time, it's like, man, don't buy any green bananas. I really thought we were headed right down right off the cliff. And then a miracle happened, and the great and glorious Donald J. Trump was elected. And I don't know, it's like it pulled us out of not just America, it's like it pulled the world out of a tailspin into hell. And I don't know if maybe that was just a false start. Maybe it was a precursor. I mean, obviously it was a precursor, because the end has not come. But just a small sampling of the vision of what life, particularly in the Middle East, will be. But oh my gosh, on a worse scale, even in Europe, in places where they have high Muslim populations now. What will the world be like under the final tribulation for Christians? Ooh. Video now. We have a small taste of it on YouTube. You can go watch it. I don't recommend it. Holy cow. When that tribulation comes, and that kind of stuff is not just, in the Middle East or whatever, it's far wider spread. I think we'll be relatively okay in America, because we only have like 3 million Muslims here, right? So we can take care of that if we have to. When push comes to shove, if you guys are going to declare for the enemy, you become the enemy within. When push comes to shove, you can't push 300 million with 3 million. But in the Middle East, you can certainly push 3 million with 300 million. Yeah, what do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about this? Comments turned out. Yeah, I'll have to check that. The Mug Club. I did not join the Mug Club. Sorry, Stephen Crutter. I got my liberal tears, or my leftist tears, hot or cold. Daily Wire. Let me just put that here. Withheld. Prime says you should have a Patreon called Mike's Likes, taking it serious. Mike Tyson voice. Taking it serious. Serious? I don't know. Withheld says my world building has been getting darker and darker. I have the intention of testing the metal of moral relativism and taking even farther than any has. Should be interesting. Should be interesting. Hi all. Hello, March here. Dr. Fantastic. If you guys are going to pray today, pray President Trump success with North Korea. And for future reference, Dr. Fantastic, that pray is P-R-A-Y. P-R-E-Y is a victim of a violent or what do you call this? I hate it when words just escape my head. Sorry, this is I'm kind of off. I knocked over my thing. A little bit off today. A little bit off. All right, well, let's pray for President Trump. Lord God, we come together as a fellowship. We come together as your body, your church, and we lift up President Trump today, and we lift up the presidents of Korea and South, North, and South, Father, that they may come to great accord, that they may bless the world, Lord, in their agreement and free all the peoples of North Korea and reunite them with the families in South, and that this becomes a greater norm for the world where people put down their swords and melt them into plowshares. And we ask that you do this through our leader, Donald Trump, and we ask you do this in your name, Jesus. Amen. All right. 5,000. Congrats on the 5K. Thank you very much. That's right. I subscribers today, so salute! Yay! Christians are gay-hating racists who ruined our planet. Oh, that's what SJWs say. Well, the nice thing about SJWs is you never have to say. I had a dream about that. Oh, yeah. What is your son playing? He's playing Roblox. Yeah. Thanks, Mike. I was eating a medium rare steak. I'm sorry. You know, that reminds me when I was in college the day, was it Thanksgiving Day? I think I was there for some reason on Thanksgiving Day. The college was empty. It was De Anza. And I walked by the biology department. I walked inside, and there was a cadaver on one of the tables, right on a slab. And there was like nobody in the room. So I just like walked in to check it out because I'd never seen a cadaver before. I walked in and I'm looking at it, and all the skin had been removed except for the fingertips for some reason, probably for identification purposes. And you could see like the muscles connected to the tendons, and the tendons connected to the bones, and all that stuff. And I was just, marveling at it. It was like really, kind of creepy. Dead body, no skin. But it was Thanksgiving, and that night I pulled a turkey leg off, and I bit into it, and I pulled out a muscle and that thin strip of tendon, and it just flashed back me to that. I'm gagging right now. It was just like so fresh in my mind that when I ate the turkey leg, I was just like, so I feel your pain about your steak, thinking about the human butcher shop. David Peterson, listening to, just curious. Oof, demon violation for all those monsters. Demon violation. I don't know what that means. Brought to you in part by the deep state. Absolutely horrendous. Yeah. Yeah, it's we're so safe and secure and prosperous and spoiled here in America, that it's like not even a reality. Even a video isn't really like reality, right? Because it's so divorced. It's like we're so used to watching this grim stuff on TV, but it's all fake. And I think we become desensitized to it. And so when we see it on a video, it's like it still doesn't seem to have that reality where, like, man, that looks just like the stuff on Game of Thrones, or that looks just like the stuff on Vikings. It's like, no, man, these are real people who have been beheaded, bled, chopped up into meat for consumption by vile, disgusting people who believe powers. It doesn't minds, right? It doesn't. I mean, how can you do that? Where's your we worry about like SJWs here having lost their minds, but over there, at least, I mean, over here they're not, they haven't lost their minds so much that they want to eat us because we have magical powers. Over there, it's like a whole nother world of insanity. Say hi. You want to say hi? Oh. Look what you made me do, Jojo. You made me do. Hmm? You want my phone? All right. Give me a second, guys. Turn this off. Make sure I didn't have any. Oops, hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Don't lose it.
Okay.
Okay.
Loses it.
All right. There's something in my eye. I don't mean that as if I'm crying. That seems pretty demonic. It seems completely demonic. I mean, like, stuff you wouldn't even want to come up with for, like, just, it's, the villains in the real world are oftentimes worse than the villains we can create for our own fictions. You know what I mean? Got lemonade on my keyboard. And it's just so hard to compute that is happening on the other side of the planet to real people. And it's just heartbreaking. But at the same time, this kind of does bring me back to, I just started listening to the Gulag Archipelago again for the second time. And I started getting into it, and I'm like, gosh, do I want to do this again? Because it's so depressing. For those who don't know, the Gulag Archipelago is about a guy, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, and he was a soldier in the USSR under Stalin. And he was arrested and sent to Gulag. And he what do you call it? Documented the stories. These were like signed, witnessed testimonies of, I believe, over 300 victims of Gulag. You know, when we're kids and we watch like what was that show? Hogan's Heroes or something. And we always hear people, you want to be sent to the Gulag or whatever. We had no comprehension of what that actually meant. People in the Soviet Union, and I believe they did this as a means of population control, because after the communists had taken over the farming, the farmers weren't producing. With no profit motivation, farmers didn't want to produce crops, right? And so the state took over the farms, didn't know how to run them, and so they starved by the millions, tens of millions. And so I think as a means of population control, they started culling the population. People would be arrested and sent to Gulag for the most insignificant excuses, right? And again, and so Solzhenitsyn, he was one of these guys. He's like, he didn't do anything wrong, but his mindset was so, the state is always right, right? The state is right. The state is God, because in communism, you replace God with the state. And so if you're dogmatic about that and the state arrests you, you have the mindset that, well, I must have done something wrong. They're that blinded by ideology. And so he went to Gulag, and there were the kind of the joke is you're sent there for life or 10 years. But nobody ever got out, because every time they didn't have the death penalty, because, you know, the death penalty is what do you call it? It's just like the left today, right? Oh, the death penalty is so bad. But they'll send you to Gulag for life or 10 years. And every time your 10 years was up, they'd give you another 10 years. So you were there for life. The joke is, or 10 years. But that's what I'm talking about. It's when your ideology brainwashes you to the point where the state is right. So much that you think that even though you know you did nothing wrong, you accept your punishment for doing what the state said you did wrong, even though you did nothing wrong. It's these ideologies. You see it happening today, where people are getting, swatted in our community, and the people with the SJW ideology are like, well, there's nothing wrong with that, or they try to excuse it, or they try to blame the victim. And it's just this bizarre, twisted ideology that, boy, it really. This is how we end up with Gulag. This is how we end up with gas chambers. And I know a lot of you might have heard me say this last night, but it is, when it's happening right in front of you and people don't understand that they are perpetrating the evil. I'm not saying they're evil, right? I'm saying they are, but that's the funny thing, is they call us evil. And therefore, if we're evil, it justifies us getting swatted or doxxed or attacked, hit with bicycle locks, punched at conventions. Because, anyone who disagrees with them is a Nazi, and what do you do with Nazis? Well, you shoot Nazis, don't you? There was this guy I was arguing with yesterday, Gray, who I muted, and everyone else kept arguing with him. But he's an outright communist. How can you be a communist? How can you still, after watching 100 million people killed through communist ideology, how can you uphold that now? But he said, I notice that the only people who are offended by my ideology are fascists. Fascists meaning Nazis, right? So in his mind, which he just spelled out right there, anyone who disagrees with my ideology is a Nazi, therefore evil. You are right at the precipice of saying, kill that person. And they don't see that. They don't see that. Generally speaking, people on the right, when someone disagrees with them, they say they're wrong. I think communism is evil. I think Islam is evil. But I don't think necessarily that the people that are following it are evil. I think they are deluded. I think they are brainwashed. And I think they need to have their minds changed if it's at all possible. But boy, is it possible at all? I don't know. Do not be afraid to call evil evil. But I don't want to jump to that conclusion. I think I generally try to think the best of people. And I have friends who believe this stupid stuff. And I don't think they're bad people. I don't think they're evil people. I think they're wrong and they're deluded. That's not the same thing as being evil, right? You cannot change evil. If somebody is evil, they are evil, right? You can't change that about them. So their assumption that anyone who disagrees with them is automatically evil means they believe that we can never be changed, which means we should be exterminated or sent off to Gulag where we can't bother anyone else, right? But we can't have that mindset because we have to believe that these people can change. And that's why I try. I give someone, if I can find a modicum of reasonable intelligence or intelligent reasonableness in someone, I will try to make them understand that the direction they're heading leads right down that pit, right? There comes a point where your ideology is going to make you do evil in the name of what you believe is good, but what you believe is good is evil. I don't know, man. I don't know. Kids in America have grown up safe and don't understand the true horrors that are out there, says Jeremiah Jones. 100%, man, 100%. All of this stuff, almost all of this stuff, it's just, it's books, it's TV. We haven't lived through anything. And therefore, and obviously they're being taught by a bunch of rabid, socialist communists in colleges and in schools now. And so they're all being brainwashed and indoctrinated into thinking that crap. I don't know. I just feel like I harp on this so much, but nobody ever listens. I don't know. I try. I was trying to think of a way. I think Jordan Peterson's probably making the most effort. I think Jordan and and Shapiro and Crowder, I think those three are like making the most inroads with the youth, sort of hopefully pulling those who can be pulled out of that ideological trap and pull them out of them. Yeah, I'm muted. I'm not muted. I can see my little green thing. Is it just am I too quiet? Am I being quiet? Sorry. You don't trust Jordan Peterson? I don't agree with Jordan Peterson on everything, but I think he's doing good work convincing a lot of kids not to be so stupid. No sound? Really? No, I'm getting sound. Must be yours, man. Mike, it was a joke. He's not funny. I've come to the conclusion that we just have to hold the line against the wackos, and the next generation will be better. The next generation, that's a thing. The next generation is better. The next generation is muted. Gotcha. It's the most conservative generation coming up, like in generations. It's fantastic. What's on the back of my hand? Got an ink blot. Must be the Sharpie. And I think that is in no small part to people like Ben and Crowder and Peterson. So so yeah, it's just going to be that mushy middle millennial generation who's been seeped in the academia. But I don't know, is there some way that we can get all of these commie bastards out of our academia? Is it possible? I mean, we are bringing we are right now, right here, Comicsgate, and some even in the wider Hollywood media. We're creating our own entertainment. We're creating our own industry for the entertainment and the enlightenment and the education of a generation, the next generation, this generation, whatever. We're putting the message out there in ways that Hollywood can't shut down anymore. And that's fantastic. And I think that is, sort of the saving grace of YouTube, right? But how do we do that in academia? How do we? I mean, I know there's conservative schools out there, but still the preponderance of leftist ideologues in our traditional highest educations. I've told you guys about my wife's dance partner, right? Who graduated from Harvard. And I was like, so Harvard, I'm like, how many professors did you have? And he's like, oh, I had, I think he said 32. And I said, well, how many of those were conservative? And he sat there and he thought about it and he went through it in his head and he's like, 2 of them. And I said, 2 out of 32 were conservative. He's all, yeah, and one of them was Obama. So Barack Socialist Obama is what passes for a conservative at Harvard. How do we fix that? How is it possible to turn that kind of a ship around? Right? Homeschool, yeah, on a person by person basis, homeschooling, yeah, all my kids are good, right thinking conservative kids. Even the one that goes to the charter school. But I know you guys are reacting to the Obama thing. It's insane. But how do we do that on the university level? Because there are still things. I am not interested in sending my kids to college because of this very issue. And because, a college degree is what is that worth nowadays? There are certain jobs where a college degree and college training are necessities, right? But most, I don't see how that's necessary, especially like my son wants to go into game designing games and stuff, right? And I'm like, well, go to college, take some programming, take some business courses, whatever's going to help you in your business. But negative 226,000. What does that got to do with that? What's that number for Force Ghost? We're gonna waive student loan debt. No, we're just gonna avoid student loan debt in my house. David Peterson, Mike, if your children are taught the truth, then I wouldn't worry if they are exposed to lies. They're wise enough to distinguish the two. That's weird though, because I know families who have struggled with this, good Christian families, taking their kids to good Christian schools, and then as soon as they drop them into like regular public high school, the faith starts wavering. The beliefs start changing. Because when you're at a school with 8 hours of indoctrination a day, it's a little harder to confront, than seeing something on TV and turning to your kid and explaining to them why that's a bunch of crap. No, instead they get 8 hours of indoctrination a day. It's hard. It's hard. David Peterson is related to Jordan Peterson. I'm actually a Peterson too, but with a D. My maternal, or my paternal grandmother, her last name was Peterson. She is from I think Michigan, if I remember correctly. From all them Norwegians up in look at that. That was all got fingerprints all over it. Up in Michigan. That's my boy. Cool, we're distant relatives, probably. Yeah, probably. Mike confirmed Canadian. No. My family has been here in the States since the 1600s. The 1600s. We have the original, we got the receipts. I was on Ancestry.com for like a week just digging stuff up. Winamp says, oddly, I went into college as a liberal and graduated conservative. Ah, interesting. All right. Mike, did you talk about the post-birth killing bill already? Sort of, but that was a while ago. Sierra Whiskey. I am a Peterson, Norwegian son of Peter. There you go. We're all relatives, man. Of course, I don't know. Is Pedersen just a different spelling? I would assume it's just a different spelling. All right. Christian Energetics got the book. East Coast. Looks awesome. Thank God. There's nothing wrong with Canada, Miller. Whatever, Pernasty. Send them to Point Loma. Oh, yeah. Point Loma Nazarene. Yeah, I've got someone who formerly went to my church is a teacher over there. Peterson militia. Peterson. We are the Petersons from Norway. Born in a barn. All right. So Peterson is Mexican. No, I don't think so. All right. Let me see if there's any other interesting articles on Christian headlines we can get into, since we seem to have exhausted that particular topic. How about, since the Oscars were on Sunday, let's go to some Hollywood. All right, let's share this. This probably would have been more clickbaity, but I didn't want to clickbait today for some reason. I felt like the other story was more important. Chris Pratt, Hollywood Christians under fire for attending Bible-believing churches. Christians in Hollywood have come under attack in recent days for attending churches that hold to a biblical view of sexuality, and one conservative commentator is calling it the height of intolerance. The Washington Post ran a column by Drew Goines, February 19th, criticizing actor Chris Pratt for attending a Los Angeles congregation, Zoe Church, that Goines said doesn't fully affirm LGBTQ beliefs. Goines also found fault with Justin Bieber, Kylie Jenner, and Selena Gomez for attending Hillsong Church. CNN, too, posted a similar column. It takes digging to unearth that these churches are as inhospitable to queer questions as less hip congregations, because you guys all recall thou shalt be hip. I believe that was the 13th commandment. Goines wrote, this obfuscation is a win-win deal for Hollywood's conservative Christians and the churches that give their patron stars plausible deniability. The celebrities get a place to worship and still seem woke, and Hillsong and its fellow churches get to raise their profiles. Unsuspecting LGBTQ worshippers, on the other hand, get nothing but the eventual shock that they're surrounded by people who quietly condemn their identity, Goines wrote. CNN's February 20th column by Guthrie Graves Fitzsimmons urged Pratt to take a public stand on the issue,
or even to leave his church. If the church does not affirm LGBTQ people, he has 3 options as an ally. Leave his church and join one that actually affirms LGBTQ people. Stay and publicly voice his belief in a need to affirm LGBTQ Christians in his church, or stop portraying himself as an LGBTQ ally, Graves Fitzsimmons wrote. Both churches try and stay out of the political cultural spotlight, although they nevertheless hold to traditional Christian teachings. The controversy over Pratt and his church started when actress Ellen Page, a lesbian, tweeted that Pratt attended the infamously anti-LGBTQ church. Ellen says, "Okay, but his church is infamously anti-LGBTQ, so maybe address that too?" Pratt responded on Instagram, "Nothing could be further from the truth. I go to a church that opens their doors to absolutely everyone." Yeah, this is what he said. "It has recently been suggested that I belong to a church which hates a certain group of people and is infamously anti-LGBTQ. Nothing could be further from the truth. I go to a church that opens their doors to absolutely everyone, as all churches should. Despite what the Bible says about divorce, my church community was there for me every step of the way, never judging, just gracefully accompanying me on my walk." Well, I don't like that he said despite what the Bible says about divorce. The Bible doesn't say to kick people out of the church if they're divorced. They help, and especially since it wasn't his fault. She left him. "They help me tremendously, offering love and support, as every church should. It is what I have seen them do for others on countless occasions, regardless of sexual orientation, race, or gender. My faith is important to me, but no church defines me or my life, and I am not a spokesperson for any church or any group of people. My values," that's right, it is a one-on-one relationship. "My values define who I am. We need less hate in this world, not more. I'm a man who believes that everyone is entitled to love who they want, free from the judgment of their fellow man. I, too..." Pratt's a Westboro Baptist. No, I think he's trying to massage the message there a little bit. Yeah, we are not to judge unbelievers. That is, I think I've made that clear. The Bible teaches that, we are to judge fellow believers because iron sharpens iron, and we are trying to make each other better Christians. But we're not called to judge other people, unbelievers. We're called to pray for them, right? More Chuck Wendig voice. The back and forth led Hillsong to release a statement. Pratt's congregation, Zoe Church, is part of the Hillsong community. The statement said Hillsong is an inclusive Christian church that loves, values, and welcomes all people, and that it adheres to mainstream biblical values shared by the overwhelming majority of evangelical Christian churches around the world and millions of Christians across the USA. Believing the teachings of the Bible and loving all people, including those who have different perspectives, are not mutually exclusive. In fact, this is the very definition of tolerance and inclusiveness, the statement read. Oh, wow, this keeps going. Goins criticized the statement, saying it was a form of dog whistling. Conservative commentator David French, writing at National Review, called Goins' column one of the more intolerant Washington Post op-eds I've ever read. Pratt's acceptance in Hollywood should not hinge on whether he swallows the politics and theology of radical cultural gatekeepers, French wrote. One wonders what qualifies people like Goins and Page to authoritatively determine that traditional Christian theology is false, and one also wonders what enables them, or the legions of people who, for example, attacked Karen Pence for teaching at a Christian school, to enjoy the unique privilege of imposing their secular religion on others, French wrote. After all, a core and very basic tenet of pluralism is the notion that people of diametrically opposed belief systems can live and work side by side so long as they treat each other with dignity and respect. I've spent my entire career working with people who believe that my religious beliefs are wrong, that my stance on sexual morality is wrong, that my political judgments are deeply misguided. Yet, even in the case of profound disagreement, it is easy to treat people well. It is easy to treat people fairly. Further, French wrote, "It is the height of ignorance to believe that it is somehow problematic that a person disagrees with you on matters of faith. We cannot exist as a pluralistic and diverse society. The price of admission to any American industry is the abandonment of religious faith to conform to the demands of the intolerant," French wrote. If Hollywood ever becomes so radical that it no longer has space even for Hillsong, then Hollywood will stand opposed to the American experiment itself. Amen. That's funny because that kind of dovetails into what I was talking about earlier about Hollywood and the need and the circumstance of conservative and religious and just right-leaning entertainment and whatnot becoming a thing, right? I think we need a bigger corner. I think we need a major studio to start producing these things because there's a huge audience out there for it, and the depravity of Hollywood and the rejection of Christian morality and Judeo-Christian ethic in Hollywood is why so many Christians have just quit watching movies and TV. So, they'll come back if there's something to watch. My wife has a lot of Christian family. I have like very little Christian family, but my wife has a lot of Christian family, and that is very, very much how a lot of them react. It's like, I don't have cable. Why would I have cable? It's nothing but freaking dreck. So they will buy movies, and only movies that they know are not anti-Christian propaganda. You know what? Maybe you can get Ben to get you in touch with Clavin. Why? So Animal Farm. Yes. 2 legs bad. 4 legs good. I told y'all they were going after Chris Pratt next, right after he mentioned God at that youth awards show. Yeah, they've been going at Chris Pratt for a while. I think they hate the fact that nobody noticed he was a Christian. And then they ended up giving him 2 starring roles in what were blockbuster films. The Lego Movie. The Lego Movie. He was partially behind the Gosnell movie, really? Really? Was he? I did not know that. And then he was in Jurassic Park. And those 2 just Wait, was he in Guardians before Jurassic Park? I don't recall. But yeah, then he was just he was done. He was done. They accidentally made him one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, and now they're just kicking themselves for it, I think. But God bless the man. God bless him. Did you see the video about the Jamaican guy getting arrested for preaching the Bible in the UK? I did not. I did not see that, Rhaegar. Have you heard the news on the Supreme Court case, the ACJ calling for the destruction of the Peace Cross in Maryland because they hate Christians? Man, they've been doing that all across this country. There's a cross in La Jolla that the atheists have been clamoring to tear down, and I believe what happened because it was on public land, right? But it was a memorial cross for, gosh, was it Vietnam? I think it might have been a Vietnam memorial cross up on La Jolla, up on the hills in La Jolla, that you can see from the Highway 5. And I think what ultimately ended up happening is the county sold that 9 by 9 square foot plot of land to a private charity or something, so that it was no longer state owned property.
They basically sold him a postage stamp of land, so that that they no longer had a constitutional argument to make, because it's no longer on public land. That little tiny piece of dirt was sold to a private charity or church or something, so that they could maintain the Vietnam Memorial there. Yeah, that was a good move. That's some 4D chess right there. Yeah, I was talking about Clavin. Clavin was behind the Gosnell movie. Atheists don't make sense. If you don't believe, fine. Why do you care if others do? Well, yeah, and there's some atheists that don't care. It is the belligerent ideological atheists that try to ram their disbelief on everybody else. They are the worst kind of evangelicals. They attack more than the Westboro Baptist Church does, right? They are online attacking anybody with any voice who disagrees with them at any moment, and they will be relentless about it. They are evangelical atheists. I think that's the best way to put them. Yeah, I haven't listened to Clavin a lot. I've listened to him a few times though. Let's see. May the stream be blessed. Thank you, Joseph. All right. Scroll back to the bottom. Clavin is great, but he's sickeningly happy. Oh, how can you be sickeningly happy? Happy is great. All right, we got about 4 minutes left. You guys got any other questions for me that could take a minute or two to answer? Relating to the topics of the day. Evangelical atheist is pretty spot on. I know, right? I think, you know what? That'd be incredibly insulting to them too, but it's so dead on the nose. Maybe we should start doing that. Whenever you have one of these evangelical atheists just harping on you, just hashtag them. Hashtag, you're an evangelical atheist. Hashtag it so we can all follow that. Watchmen for You just got in. Man, it's almost over, bruh. Here's a question. Who was eating who? I missed the beginning. Muslims were eating Christians. You're talking about the butcher shop. Yeah. I do not suggest looking up this video, but there's a video on YouTube. I know now you're going to be tempted to look it up. There's a video on YouTube of a Muslim. Gosh, I wonder if they took it down. That seems like the sort of thing they would have taken down, right? But it was a video of a Muslim butcher shop where they were butchering men. Human men. Not in some sort of torture sense, but in a would you like a thigh steak with that? Yeah. So what's with the stigma against cannibalism? Even EVS even wrote a song about it. Well, hey, if you don't have any other options, but I think there were probably other options, because it's yeah. That can't possibly meet the Muslim dietary requirements. Well, if they are sacrificed to Allah, I guess that would make them halal, right? And also, Death Bell, they have this weird notion that Christian flesh, and it's Christians. It is Christians, not Jews or pagans or anything else. It's Christians. They only do this to Christians. They believe that our blood, and probably because of that, somehow the meat of our flesh has some magical power or potency to it. I don't understand it. It's very, very disturbing. It's not really something I even want to delve into to find out what
what it is exactly they think is so magical about us that we should be turned into tasty snacks. But yeah, pretty grim. I don't recommend searching for that video, because once it's in here, you can't get it out. It's there. The faces and the limbs and the upside down hung corpses and beheaded. Yeah, it's not great. Yeah, the body and the blood. We are the Eucharist. That's not how it works, guys. Yo, if you're a Muslim, that's not how it works. Don't do that. What do I think of the Noahide laws? You mean the Levitical laws? The Noahide laws. Specify. Not sure what you're talking about. I've heard the term, but I don't think it's... Well, just specify. Something is very wrong. Oh, yeah. That is evil of the devil for sure. Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. If a Christian church was doing that, it would be all over the news. Well, yeah. That's true. Not good to look at that stuff. No, it's not. It's really, it gets burned in your head. You know, once you've seen something and it's like traumatic, it's like, it's there forever. It's not something you can just like forget about. You know, I've forgotten lots of stuff, but stuff that's that visually traumatic, no, that's I'd have to beg God to erase that from my brain. Then he'd probably give me a stroke, and I wouldn't want that. Was it ISIS or what? I think it was probably ISIS. It was within that time frame that I saw that video that ISIS was all over the place taking over. So Justin Ward says, read my last post. I'd categorize myself as a realistic agnostic. Is that a thing? I make no real attempt to disprove Christianity. I just personally find it hogwash. Yeah, that's more or less where I was. I never really made an effort to argue people out of their faith when I was an agnostic. Or, gosh, maybe I did. I probably did, but, you know, social media wasn't a thing back then. So, gosh, the world was just so much easier when there was no social media, because you could just have, if you wanted to talk to somebody about this, you had to sit down, grab a burger or a beer, and talk to them about it face to face. And things getting insulting and out of hand and taking things the wrong way like never happened, right? It was just reasonable conversations. And boy, it's just a whole different world now that social media has taken over most communication. It's sad. It really is. Force Ghost says I felt empty as agnostic, and I didn't want to do that to other people. All right, more reports of people getting their Lone Star. Oh, we're over time. Got your copy of Lone Star. Fantastic. Shad, why don't you go over to themegcomic.com and order that too, so you can get that one next. The Meg, Six Gun Samurai, and Deal with the Devil. I just put up a new tier today because I just made it available that you can also get the Meg, the retail version of the cover. So yeah, guys, go over there, do that. Do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I am finally over 5,000 subscribers. So woohoo! Hopefully that'll kick into some higher gear and I'll start picking them up a little faster. I don't really know how the algorithm works, but I do appreciate it. Thanks everybody for being here. I'll try to figure out what's wrong with the comments so that you can leave comments for today's show. Comments, criticisms, questions. Please do ask questions. I love questions. And they're fun to answer. So thanks everybody for being here. Themegcomic.com for the ongoing Indiegogo. And I hope you're all enjoying the Lone Stars as you get them. Please do post your reviews, wherever, YouTube, whatever. I'll share any review or any share on Twitter. I will share it out too. So do that. Love you guys. I'll see you tonight for something.